Today we have some exciting speakers with us, such as Denise from Enfuse, Axel from Astat, and Bent from Namur. Also Helena from Visa, and they will shed some light on this topic today. You can ask questions by using the Q&A function in Zoom, and we'll try to bring them up in the Q&A session later. I'm really looking forward to hearing from this great lineup. So to kick it off, I will hand over to Helena from Visa, and the stage is yours.
Thank you. Hi, everyone. So my name is Helen Podsadny Nilsson, and I'm leading the engagement with the startup and the fintech community, and support partnerships for the Nordics and the Baltics at Visa. I'm pleased to team up today with NCA Finance Innovation for this webinar. Today, we are not going to tell you it's super easy to navigate in such a complex payment ecosystem. It takes a lot of time, patience, and efforts, and it requires a new set of skills to successfully manage a card issuing project, even digital. But today, you'll get tangible piece of advice from Enfuse and honest feedback from two fintechs, Astat and Namur. So we at Visa, we understand it takes a while to get a good understanding of the payments value chain. You all probably know Visa, but people tend to think we are a credit card company. Actually, we are not. We are just a tech company. So we basically enable players in the payment space by giving them access to our global network and capabilities through our innovation center, our open platform through a Visa developer. And we are investing and building new partnerships with the next generation of paytech companies. Next slide, please. So how can we support the fintechs? So obviously, we provide fintechs with instant access to the largest and most secure payment network in the world. In addition to that, we help you, the fintechs, navigate in the payment ecosystem with payment training, consulting and analytics resources, and we provide you with support as well, thanks to our local fintech team. And last but not least, we help the startups, the fintechs, to get to market fast and efficiently. And our fast track program is a fairly good example. Enfuse is part of this program, and it allows fintechs to leverage speed, security, reliability of the Visa network to get up and running very quickly. So it is in this context of partnering with enablers, such as Enfuse, that we help fintechs like Astat or Namur to get to market fast and efficiently. I'm going to give the floor now to Denise, the CEO of Enfuse. She will tell you more about what you need to know to issue future-proof payment card, and she will also tell you how to become a card issuer in a fast and scalable way. Denise, over to you.
Yes, thank you, Helen, and thank you for inviting me here. So, as said, Denise Johansson, and I'm one of 5 co-founders of Enfuse. And just to give you a little piece of my background, so you can see why I might have some relevant to share with you here today. I've soon been working almost 20 years within the field of payments. I've been on the bank side, and I've been the last 10 years on the tech side of digital payments. And digital payments is what we are talking about when we are talking about card payments and Visa network. So again, some more background. Enfuce, we are a service provider enabling others to take part of the digital payment chain. Why Enfuce was founded almost 5 years ago was that we saw a shift in the industry. Earlier, it was banks and really big players who launched card services to consumers and to businesses. But then it started to become a shift. There were more and more new players that wanted to offer better services for the consumers. But the processing behind those new players were still the old and legacy tech. So we saw a sweet spot and a gap in the industry that we wanted to fill. We wanted to rethink the business model for card processing services. We wanted to build something that can scale with the fintech's global journeys that they want to take. And we wanted to take payment processing to the public cloud. And today we run our services in AWS. And we were the first in the world to run processing in the public cloud. So that's sort of my background and sort of the company's background. And then the question is, what do we do? Well, we provide payment services, the tech behind that connects to the Visa network. And we think that we do it better, faster, and safer than others do. And also mentioned by Helene already, we are part of the Visa FinTech Fast Track program. And what we want to enable for others with that is to really fast time to market and be launching new and innovative services where there is a gap on the industry. So today, I hope I'm able to share some insights in how you can get there, how you can launch your own payment services. But just a short glance of how does the transaction value chain look like. So it goes from someone wanting to make a payment, the card holder, to a point of sale. And card holder can just as good be the Apple Watch or your phone or whatever you are using today where payments are embedded. And then you just tap at a point of sale and the merchants, the one that you're buying from, they receive that transaction, but they just push it forward to an acquirer that takes all of those transactions and send them to the right schema. And the schema then can see who is the processor, who is the issuer and the processor in behind. And we help issuers, so the one to the right, the last piece of the value chain of the payment, those are the ones that we help with the tech and the connection to the schemas. So we recently published a buyer's guide. We gathered our joint history. We are 70 employees today, and we have counted that we have more than 500 years of experience from the payment industry within our company. And what can we do with all this experience? Well, of course, we can share it to anyone that wants to enter this business so that it's easier for you, so that you can gain experience from others. So how to launch a winning payment card? Let me see if I can give you some insights. First of all, you really need to define your card offering and who your target user group are. This is the same as when you start a business, when you start a fintech, you really need to understand why you are doing it and what you want to achieve. But it's the same when you come to the payment product. You need to do your homework to be able to define how success will look for you and understand how to build the journey towards that success. So first of all, the objectives. What are your business goals by embedding payments into your service? Bottlenecks. Are there critical pain points on the market that you want to solve, or are the critical pain points within your own business that you want to solve? Why are you doing that, and what are the pain points? Customers. Who are your customers and the customer behaviors? What are your customers buying, and where are they buying, and how are they buying, and how can you help them in that buying journey? And use cases. What do you want to solve? Is it just the plastic? Is it the tap and pay? Or what is the overall use cases that you hope that you can solve for your customers? The markets. You probably have a home market that you know, here we are, but be visionary. When you succeed at your home markets, where will be the next markets for you? Define the path throughout the whole success journey. And monetization. How does your business model look today, and how will this new feature fill up with that? What can you do? Do you need to modify, or does it fit the current business model? You always need to know your competition. Even though you know your competition of what you are doing today, you need to know also within this new field that you are entering. So who are your competitors? And what payment services, if any, are they offering today? And what are they not offering? What do you want to offer more than them? And then build versus buy. So what of the whole customer journey chain, what do you have today? Maybe the customer onboarding. You already do strong customer authentication, you do KYC, so know your customers today, great. But then what are the pieces that you are lacking as of today, and what do you need to be able to launch the payment service? And timeline. Always aim for a launch, aim for a MVP launch, and then for the journey after that as well. So be specific on your expectations. And when you have done that paper exercise, then you get to the more fun part of launching the service. And that is when you are creating your own identity to this new service. So you can design how your card, is it plastic, is it virtual, no matter, but you want your own look and feel to that. And that's where you really define yourself and your offering. So what product card types are you going to launch? Is it prepaid, is it debit, is it credit, is it a mix match? And why are you offering that specific type? And then the form factors. I mentioned it already, but plastics, you might think that they are old school, but they do still exist, and some customer segments you won't reach unless you have the plastics. But then other customer segments you won't again reach unless you have virtual card or tokenized card. And what's the difference with those? Well, the virtual card is when you can buy at online store, so you can see your card number virtually, but you maybe don't have a plastic connected to that one. And tokenized, that's when you use Apple, Google, or Samsung Pay, and you can tap and pay at any point of sales as well. And then the cardholder experience. How will they become your customer? How will that process look like? What can you gain from what you have already today? Will they be able to apply for the card immediately? Will they get a card immediately, or will they wait until they are approved credit customers? How will the overall experience for your customers be? And then you want to serve your customers as good as possible. So what should the cardholders be able to manage themselves within your application. It might be good to have manage the like limits. Is it a credit? They can top up the card directly from the app. What can they do for the product themselves, and how are you going to configure it? And then you have the must-haves. You need to embed strong customer authentication, SCA, into your app, because it's going to be e-money that they are holding on that card or within that mobile app. You need to have 3DS authentication so you can enable high-value payments online. We have risk-based authentication that can enable a really smooth customer journey today, fairly new on the market, but really appreciated. So also the more boring stuff in behind, you need to have that solved. And then you can do whatever like future roadmaps there will be, bill splitting between friends, or if you have a company card that you can have some as your personal expenses and somewhere on the companies. You can be creative, and I think you can find tech solutions to support today. So you have defined why you are going into this business, you have defined your look and feel and what you want to achieve. Then you need to find the right partners to support you on your success. If there's going to be plastic cards, you need card manufacturing. As I said, know your customers, know your business. How are you going to do that? Find a partner that can do it. SCA, how are you going to solve it? Schema, who are you going with? Payment processing, are you doing it in-house? Are you going with a partner? Who is that partner? Do you have your financial license yourself, or will you rely on someone else's license? Many choices, and you need to guide yourself through that jungle of partners and understand who can help you with that, what. And then when you have done all of that prerequisites, then you are going to define part of implementation, also the challenging part, but it's through challenges that we grow and we can actually achieve success. So you are implementing, you are maybe working with BIN sponsor, well, you are going to work with third parties, but how many, and that's up to you. Then you are getting to a pilot, always do a pilot before commercial launch, because you cannot guarantee how well your card will work the week after the BIN is live, because you saw the value chain of payments, it's many players there, and everyone needs to know that now you are live with your service. So a short period of pilot, see that merchants are updating the existing BINs live and so on. And then you can have a successful card launch. And then you are live in production and you can build and grow your business from that. And then of course, I need to mention Enfuse as well. As you saw, there are many steps to complete to get to a launch. And this is where we want to help. This is where we want to enable you for an easy and smooth process to be able to launch a successful card. So we can help you with the solution design, with customer onboarding. We will help you to launch, and then we will help you scale up new products, new features, new markets, and we will be there all the way. And this is, for example, how we together with Visa and Astat are soon going to help Astat launch their product. So they have their card holders, they own that relationship, then they are utilizing Enfuse, who is the connected to Visa network. So this is how you become a card issuer in the 2020s. I think I have used my time, so thank you for listening. And now we are going to the more interactive presentation without boring slides. Axel.
Thank you very much. Thank you very much, Denise. So yes, Axel, over to you. So Axel will present Astat's value proposition and show how card products can help small businesses.
Thank you so much, Denise, and thank you for the intro. So yes, Axel Hunter, pleasure to meet you. Thank you for inviting me. It's really good to be here. Now, what I want to do is I kind of want to explain the story as to how Astat was created in the first place, because this brings us really well into the relationships that I built with both Enfuse and Visa. So Axel Hunter, I'm clearly British. I live here in Norway, but the last 9 years I spent in London as a technical consultant and architect. So I was building large-scale enterprise software solutions. Now, the last 4 years, I took my part in the fintech revolution outside of in London, and I didn't sit on the startup side. I sat on the incumbent side. So what I was doing is I was building digital banks for the incumbent banks, so clients such as RBS, NatWest, and Nationwide. Now, when I was there, I built two neobanks. One was Bo, that's a consumer solution. The other one was Metal, which is a solution for SMBs. And when I was there, one of the big things that hit me was the fact that existing banking infrastructure is not sufficient enough for banks to remain competitive and keep their customers happy and retain good, clean parts of the customer value chain, right? So off the back of this, I had this crazy grand engineer's idea that I'd build this solution called containerized banking. The name containerized banking takes its, if there's any geeks in the audience, it takes its inspiration from Docker, right? So the idea that you can deploy anything anywhere. And the premise of this concept is that you'd be able to take a neobank or a digital banking solution into any region or country on the planet and deploy within 6 to 7 months, right? So you go into a region, you'll speak to an existing player, an existing bank. You ensure that the value that you're offering is taking hold of a segment that they really struggle to acquire, and then you move in and you work in collaboration with the banks. So a few things happened in London. One was Brexit, and then the second one was COVID. So my wife is Norwegian, and when COVID hit, we were in lockdown for 3 months. And after that, we decided that we'd jump in the car and drive to Norway and spend the summer in Norway instead, because the COVID situation was much better here. And it turned out that the summer in Norway last year was an absolute incredible summer. So we were like, all right, let's stay here and I'll try and see if there was any great solutions for this product that I was trying to sell. So what I then needed to do is I needed to set up a business, right? So I needed to come here, set up a business in Norway. It's called an RS. And it was from there that I started to find some really big chinks in the armor that is Norway's financial system. So I went to one of the biggest players on the market, applied for a business account, which you need before you get a business. It took 5 weeks for them to onboard me. And then they asked me for a business plan and 3 years projected accounts. I'm building a neobank here, or a digital banking solution. I'm not going to do that. So that was off the cards. The second bank that I went to, it took a month and a half for me to get set up. And then once I was set up, 10 to 15 days to get the card delivered. And then on top of that, 19 pages of fees, right? So a huge amount of prices. So straight away, there's demand for a product, and I was a guy who had the ability to supply that product in the market, right? So you take this nice underserved segment. Clearly, what the banks are concentrating on in this market in particular is the fact that large corporates bring in huge amount of return on invested capital for the banks, and the small businesses typically will survive 6 months to 2 years before they can make a return for the existing banks. So Astat was born in this market in particular. The initial idea was to go and take this solution and pitch it to the banks and say, we can help you with these customers. We can give you a really low CPA, slightly lower risk, and then you can sell your financial products. And you can do what you do best, which is hold money. And it didn't settle too well initially with I'm a foreigner. I've just come into a country and I'm trying to tell a bank to use me, and that didn't sink too well. So instead, what we did is we decided to go out and try and build this ourselves. Now, what do you have when you are without a bank, there's no card service, I can get hold of financial or partners in the market to try and add some value, but then I'm just a broker, right? I'm just a platform. So the first thing we needed to do was to find a card service. And coming from London, taking inspiration from the large neobanks such as Revolut, Starling, Monzo, it was clear to me that what we could do is we could operate something which is coined, I think it's called the narrow banking model. So effectively what you do is you sit on top of an existing bank's infrastructure, you engage with issuer partners and issuers, and what they'll do is they'll then supply this card product to you. We were at this point, we were quite happy that we had thereabouts everything else. Our largest unique selling proposition is to be a largely customer-centric experience, right? So, and we're not beating the old drum in terms of telling people, you know, our interface looks good. That's not the premise of our product. The premise of our product is to offer really great customer service and to allow our customers the freedom and the visibility to run their businesses more efficiently. So I went onto the market to have a look at card issuers or issuer providers, and out of London there are loads, and out of Europe there are loads. Now, in the Nordics and the Baltics especially, very, very few. And one of the things that I really wanted to try and achieve was try and bolster this Nordic financial strength, and I only wanted to engage with Nordic companies. And then this brought us to Enfuse. I think I was speaking to Enfuse autumn last year, so it's quite a long process where I realised quite quickly that we needed quite a bit more investment and more resources in order to support the project. But every single step of the way, we found that the tailored experience that Enfuse gave us was something that we really liked. Not only that, but one of the largest selling points that they offered us was the ability to offer transaction disputes and transaction monitoring. So we went ahead, we started building the product. We ended up raising some capital. We finished a capital raise of about $500,000 at the beginning of the year, and we started into this process with Monica and Denise at Enfuse. Immediately they introduced us to Visa, where we were introduced to a lady called Hannah. Hannah and Visa have worked tirelessly to give us a really great startup offer, something that scales with our business, and it's a way. So to put this all into perspective in terms of how the vision has worked so far, Asthat was founded in November, and we are 6 months from launch now. This sort of speed to market and this sort of effective delivery wouldn't have been possible if it wasn't for these partners. And this is something that's obviously helped us scale and grow. So just really quickly before I wrap up, I'd like to sort of show you guys our product. I've been told specifically that I'm not allowed to sell, but I am a natural born salesman, so I'll try my best. So can you guys see the phone? Not perfect. So if you open the account, so one of the things that Asthat does is, as I mentioned, this pain that I had initially in the Nordic market, which was the 5-week onboarding time. We've had a look at the overview of the market, and we've rebuilt the full onboarding flow with the help of Enfuse to a grade A standard, and we were able to onboard a customer within 3 minutes. Not only that, but the Visa network and the Enfuse issuing service that they built us has allowed us to not only onboard within 3 minutes, but also issue a card immediately. This speed of delivery is incredible. So, and the Visa card services allowed us to do that also. So what they'll do is you onboard, issue a card immediately. Our customers can take that card and they can use that to make purchases online. And then the product is also going through the tokenization project, which takes a little time because you have to involve both Google Play and Apple. And then what we'll then be able to do is issue tokenized cards, so cards via the wallet, Apple Pay and Google Pay. One of the things that Asthat is trying not to do is we're trying not to issue physical cards. As Denise rightfully said earlier, some segments will like that, some segments won't. And this is something that we're taking in our stride and seeing if we can teach our customers something. Now, in terms of other features that we offer, we've built our own ERP system, so an accounting service, accounting tool. Every single transaction that goes through an account can be reconciled and added into our customers, not only the accounting tool that we have, but also into our customers' external accounting tool. So say we have an integration with one of the largest accounting providers in Norway, you can do that seamlessly in this real time. And then the customer-centric aspect as well, we have real-time chat available where customers can come in and have a discussion with us without having to sit through 20 minutes of phone conversations. So yes, if you guys want to come and check us out, it's askpat.app. Thank you so much for the time and also for inviting me to this this presentation. And I'll pass you over to Bent now.
Thank you, Axel. We'll have a look at the questions at the end of the session. So Bent, over to you now. So Bent will share with you some key lessons learned as a founder.
Okay, thank you. Yeah, thank you very much for inviting me to this event. I'm very happy to be here, and it was very interesting to see the two speakers in front of me. That was yeah, that was very nice. Okay, I'm just going to take a throwback to the digital age, which ended in 2015, in my opinion. It was the age of a lot about computing power, networking, and data storage, and it's one of the greatest boom in jobs and creation in history. But it's maybe more interesting to talk about the augmented age, which sort of age of augmented intelligence, where I think, in my opinion, life will radically change, and I'm not sure if everybody understand that. And every aspect of our life will be augmented by tech. We will monitor health, payments, our work, and I think tech is going to be more, less and less visible and less intrusive. But it's going to be very smart and embedded, and it's also going to be predictive. And I think banks and also the payment industry might be going to be hit very hard by this age if they don't prepare themselves. But of course the biggest players like Visa and the big banks will have a role, but I think it's yeah, it's going to be change a lot of things. I like this slide very much. I have taken it from a British consultant. This was actually a sport in Australia. Crazy down there. I mean, they horse wagon and put motorbikes in front of them, and this is how I feel a lot of banking systems are today. They are old, very hard to work with, but they try to fix something on the top that make it looks better, but it doesn't really change what's under. It's not modern. So what I think is going to happen in maybe in 20 years, maybe in 10 years, is that we are going to have more grandparents than grandchildren. And we're going to have a bigger middle class in Asia than in EU, USA together. Women are going to be richer than men. And the financial crisis would probably be avoided if we had Lehman sisters instead of Lehman brothers. And also, if you go down to payments and banking, a lot of jobs will be replaced by algorithms, and that's already happening. There will be a lot of losers in this age coming up now, like fossil fuel, big health companies, chemical. I think big government is going to have a struggle, and also a lot of things going to happen in payments. The winners are tech. I mean, the largest companies going to be tech companies, artificial intelligence startups, of course, drones, robots, Internet of Things. There are going to be a lot of winners. So, and it also impacts us on the payment side. There's also an issue to really crack the barriers to the millennials and Generation Z. Okay, this is illustration I learned from Brett King, where is the drivers of consumer banking, but also payments. Instant money transfer is, of course, one of the largest things are going to happen. I mean, look at Vipps in Norway and other services around EU and United States. It's huge. Then, of course, we would like to store money, but we're going to store money, of course, the largest deposit in the banks, but a lot of money is going to be stored in a number of apps around the world. And then in the middle of this, we really have to provide really good money experiences. And I think this is what we are talking about today, payment experiences. And just a quick look on the iPhone 4, because I think that's really what the device has changed the payments. Of course, we have all kinds of smartphones, not only the iPhone, but the iPhone 4 was really things that changed it, because iPhone 4 made a smartphone available for everyone. And of course, mobile payments is not only the mobile phone, but the increase of 4G and now 5G is changing the payment scheme. And as Axel was into, the neobanks are growing very, very, very fast. Okay, so I'm told to do some do's and don't do's, and I really like to try to show some live demo here. So then I have to switch. So now you hopefully see my my mobile device. You will get a unique insight into my personal finances. So you can see what we are working with in a mirror. The first thing you see here is that I'm always very close to my limit. So because my limit is red here, I'm used 46,000 kroner and only have 3,000 kroner left. So I have to do something here. And then what we are doing here, as was mentioned earlier, of course, it's very important to do instant issuing. So you have a digital card that is going to be issued to a customer in milliseconds. One feature I think is nice is the dynamic CVV code, which enhances security. And it's also important to, I mean, the plastic is not interesting in, I mean, kind of prediction about the future, but it is interesting right now because we're going to use plastic for a number of years still. So to allow the user to do some self-service on the plastic card is still important in some years, I think, Alex. So here you can soft lock your card, you can show your PIN and so on. We have worked a lot with the transaction list here. We are using emojis. We are using timestamp also in hours and minutes. And I haven't seen anybody else do that. And I think to give the user, and because payments are real time, so why don't you show when it really happened? This is really fast and it's safe. I mean, we don't store transaction on your mobile phone. It's downloaded every time you log on. And you can search. I can see my purchases here in Bergen. It's geo-tagged, and that's an important gamification that people love. I can also search for currency. I can see the actual currency I've used. So if I press British pounds here, I can see my transaction on, here is one from London Underground. I can also see what countries I have been visiting. This is for the last 2 years. I've been probably traveling too much. So if I press here, I see my transaction in Germany. And you can also do other searches as you can expect on period and so on. And then you can also, of course, search for a supplier. You can search for where we have to go sometime or the other. Okay, but if you take a photo of your receipt, you can also search inside the receipts because the system machine reads the receipt. Here I search for AirPods because I've, of course, bought some AirPods. And you see on the transaction, it doesn't really say anything about AirPods here. It only says Apple. But if I press the attachment, you can see I've taken a picture of my screen here actually, and you can see that it says AirPods. So then it reads AirPods and you can search for it. So very neat features to have. You can easily find out what you have bought. Did I buy my Garmin watch on whatever electronic brand? Okay, I will. I think that the time is moving very fast here, so I'll just take a couple more minutes to. Yeah, what you also do is that, and this, I think Alex, you talked about instant issuing, and I think we are the only one in the world actually. I haven't seen anyone else. Maybe Visa knows that we actually do onboarding with a credit card instant in the app. I think that's pretty unique. This is another company I'm working with, which is Spence, and this is a tech provider and better payments at car repair shops. Excuse me. You have and the car. This is example is from Porsche. You're going to take a car to the repair shop, and then before you pick up your card, you get an SMS. You click into that, you get to this screen here, and you can see your bill, you can see the details, you can also order other things, and then you can choose how to pay. You can pay with Apple Pay, you can pay with Whips, you can pay with you can also get a credit and pay for it later, because sometimes the car repair is going to be more expensive than you thought when you delivered your car. So this was some examples of what I think which is important to do in the payment space, and I'm asked to do something about what not to do, and I think what not to do is all the things I did mention. So don't do like you do today. You have to reach out to the Generation Z and the millennials to crack the code and to give them what they really want. Very excellent money experiences. So thank you.
Thank you very much, Ben. So we have some questions. I'm going to start with probably the ones for Axel. So Axel, how will ASTAP be different to the other banks, and in which countries are you planning to launch?
Cool. I'll start with the latter because I'm working with Enfuse in order to do this multi-region, multi-currency thing and a multi-country thing. I think Denise already knows our roadmap for maybe the end of the year, but beyond that, we have huge ambitions. But initially, what we're doing is we're launching a multi-currency account, and the initial currency is obviously going to be Norwegian krona. But we are opening a Swedish krona account and a euro account as well. In terms of actual regions and countries, we're looking at Sweden and Finland in particular. And then beyond that, the Baltics is a fairly attractive market for this segment. So that's something that we're looking at. And sorry, what was the first question?
How are you going to be different
cool.
from any other banks?
So quite a lot of the, and I was speaking to actually one of the neobank CEOs last week, based out in the Nordics, and his opinion on the biggest USP, and also this is echoed in the Cesera report that was released, I think 2 weeks ago, is that typically neobanks concentrate really heavily on user experience. Now, user experience, in my opinion, is like 4 years old, right? Everyone should have user experience. That's like a basic expectation when you have a new service. But one of the things that we're really concentrating on is customer-centric experiences, right? So not only does it look nice and it's intuitive and it's really easy to use, but one of the big things in people's lives in general is communication. With communication, you breed better businesses, and you can build better relationships. So our biggest USP is communication. So yeah.
Another question. So you mentioned that it took 6 weeks to get a business account in Norway. How long do you think it would take with Astat?
3 minutes.
Good. One question to Bent. So they saw you in the newspaper today, Bent. So what are your thoughts on Sbanken, and can Astat be a solution for the unhappy customers of Sbanken?
Yes, I think Sbanken is probably the most sexy bank in Norway. Also, if you look at the banks that have a certain size, then and then have used 20 years or 21 years to be the most customer-centric bank in Norway, and they also have, I mean, a fantastic system and a fantastic user experience. So it's of course fantastic for DNB to buy Sbanken and to take that sexiness into DNB like they've done with Vipps. So that's I think that's an amazing opportunity. But I think even though Sbanken is fantastic, they can be even more sexy if they play with startups like Astat and other that can even enhance the consumer money experiences even further. So I think it's very interesting what's happening right now with the transaction between DNB and Sbanken.
Thank you. Yeah, another question to you, Bent. A question. So they would like to better understand your products. And is Nammo a consumer bank, or is it a monobank?
No, our ambition in Namur is to be a large player in you call it credit card. I mean, it's a kind of outdated word here, but to be like in 7 to 10 years, we would like to have credit as a balance about 1 billion euros in selected markets in Europe. But we are probably going to start with a Norwegian credit license and to buy the first portfolio in the Nordics, probably Norway or Sweden, and to get a launch pad for further expansion. And it's really an exciting thing to do because it's we have ultra sexy technology and it's if you look at Germany, it's the most it's the largest growth markets for credit card in the world right now. And Germans have been very slow moving from, as you know, in Visa from cash to cards. And they also been very slow from cards to credit cards. They don't really have so much credit cards as we are seeing in for example, in Norway. So we are going to be a bank, and the reason we are going to be a bank and not only a kind of a tech company is that if you want to give the customers the best experience, you need to both sit on the credit scoring model and with a new tech and machine learning to do that together with the tech platform. So our thinking is to be both. You can compare it with, for instance, United Credit, which is a French bank, new technology. I think they are in like 11 countries throughout Europe, but they work with consumer loans, not cards, but it's kind of similar thinking.
Thank you. A question to Dennis. What is your single most important advice to startups?
Oh, there are so many. But single most important is that if you have done your groundwork, you have found your sweet spot, you have found something that you believe in, then go for it. Don't look for everyone's approval to get moving. Don't set a plan B. Trust in your gut that you are the one filling this sweet spot, because it's not going to be easy, probably. I haven't heard anyone that said that it's a straight journey. So be prepared for whatever things come your way, and just struggle through and keep the faith. So don't set a plan B. That's my biggest advice.
Thanks. Axel, Bent, do you agree? Any other advice you would like to share with the fintech community?
Yes, I think often people are very afraid to fail. And my biggest advice to a startup is to, once you obviously find that initial traction and that connection, just grab it with both hands and push and push and push. You can fail. We might fail. Bent might fail. Just keep going. So yeah.
I think my advice is to ask yourself the question: what are you saying that not everybody else is saying? So if it's something in the market that you see, you really believe in, but you are only one of 1,000 or 1 of a million people that see that, there is something. There is something. And then make things 10 times better. 10 times better. Because if you only make things, if you have a solution that's only like 10% better, you will be you will not survive, because the others will catch up with you, and you're out of business. So think, what very narrow piece of the market can I do 10 times better than the others? And maybe the last piece of advice is that as a founder, okay, you have a business idea, you have a plan A, take it with both hands, as you say, and really, it's but the thing is, your what you have to do as a founder is to get money. Your first, what you do is to get money. First from investors, maybe from banks, maybe from Innovation Norway, and then from customers. But you have to get money. That's very important as a founder. And maybe the last, people are always the hardest. You think that money is the hardest, marketing is the hardest, technology is the hardest. In my opinion, people is the hardest thing to cope with.
So finding the right resources.
Finding the right resources. And nobody's perfect, but a team can be.
Good point. Cautious of time, we have 4 minutes left. Maybe we can have the last question to you, Axel. So given the pricing models for the Nordic traditional banks, how much money do you reckon a small business can save during a year if they move their business to Astat?
We could typically cut a traditional or a typical average SMB's cost per month by around half, including the whole value chain and the offerings that we have.
Great, thank you. Marcus, do we have 1 minute left for the last question?
Yeah, we have. You can ask the last question.
A very broad one related to COVID. So has COVID-19 influenced people payment habits? Maybe this one could be for you, Denise.
Yeah, naturally, I would have asked that from Visa. I think Visa has the best insights to give on this. But yes, it has influence. Just think of yourself, how little you are leaving your house nowadays. I think really most people are doing more shopping online than at store, so at point. So from using your plastic card at point of sales, you are doing more and more online transaction from digital merchants. So I have seen studies from these other figures as well, like how much this increased, but it has influenced.
Yeah, I mean, in the Nordics, there is not a strong shift from cash to card, because we already live almost in a cashless society. But yeah, definitely a strong growth in e-commerce, but also in contactless. All right, Marcus, should we wrap up?
Excellent. Time is running out now. So before I end the webinar, I would like, on behalf of NC Finance Innovation and Visa, to say thank you to everyone tuning in for today. I hope it was interesting, and of course, I would like to say thank you to the speakers as well. Well done, guys. So thanks, everyone. Bye-bye.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Bye.
Have a good day.
Have a good day. Bye-bye.